Welcome to Nacht Waffen Pilot with Penny Bradley. Today's guest is Dollie IndigoStar, and I'm going to read her bio. Dollie IndigoStar, ancient astronauts theorist, editor, producer, writer, credited anomaly and astroanthropologist, and credited archaeoastronomy researcher, and member of UFA, independent host affiliate and presenter of shows, series, TV, radio, conferences, and broadcasting events for the disclosure community of life within the universe. SpaceLink TV, producer of alternative media sources. Okay, she has a list of documentaries that she's helped produce. And so, what if we had full disclosure tomorrow from 2017? DocUFObia, Life Beyond Our Existence from 2017. Raw Talk Sessions with Dollie IndigoStar 2020. Mars, Moon, Space TV 2016 to 2020, and that's a streaming platform website, YouTube and Vimeo. SpaceLink TV, present and since 2020. Streaming platform website, YouTube and Vimeo. And the Black Knight satellite documentary from 2021. Welcome, Dollie.
Wow, that's a huge chunk, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? We've known each other for a while, since pretty much before I was public. We were on that group together, and
wow, how many years?
I've been public for 6 years, so it's
that.
Yeah, we were in that group for a bit before that, and we were in the Annuna community, both of us, before that. I left the Annuna group because so many of them were into the chest thumping, I am all the gods. And my attitude at the time, and still is, if you're an incarnated deity, you have a mission and you should be working on it instead of sitting in ego.
Yes, exactly.
And so I got tired of listening to it all and just sort of slid out. You know, if that's where they want to be, fine, have fun. But I have a mission and I'm working it. You have a mission and you're working it. So, yeah. And you and I have memories of one another from space. So, and I was quietly, patiently waiting all these years, not outing you, you know, So for those folks who think I can't keep a secret.
There you go. I shared a lot of information out there in the community, and a lot of it was anonymous. And people was wondering, where is this information coming from?
Yeah, a lot of it was really anonymous, and you would go through and it would be like background information, and I'm like, when are you going to tell people how you know this? When are you going to tell people how you know this? And I'm like, okay. We recently discussed how my former commanding officer, the public knows him as Herr Major, he came up with, you know, I watched that interview you did with Dollie a few years back, and she looks really familiar. And I go, she should. And he says, I remember her being on the ship that comes and picks me up.
Yes.
Now, he's in Australia. I can't give you his name because he's a police officer and he has to be able to go to court and be good for court. You know, so he can't be public. But I told him, yeah, you should know her. And if you saw his photo, you would recognize him. But for the purposes of this interview, he's 6'5" and 300 pounds or so, and he's a large, very formal kind of a man, and Australian, and he's very German officer even here.
Super soldier.
Oh yeah. I mean, all of us are super soldiers. And so I want to preface our discussion for the community with everybody has a different job out there. And it's your job. It's not something you get to pick. And it doesn't make you a demon. It doesn't make you any better than anybody else. It's just the job that they assigned you.
Yes.
And some of us get to remember more than others.
Yep, we do.
And frankly, I was a little jealous of that.
Wow.
So, yeah, I used to come to you with the new people and ask, is this someone that you had picked up?
Yes.
So,
yeah. And that's what exactly what I was part of, is the picking up and the dropping off and the collecting, you might like say, those that are chosen for specific to be part of it, or to be brought into it, or to be made to feel at ease into it. And with the males especially, I was given a specific role, which was to make them feel more at ease. So
yeah, I always saw it like you were the bus driver, because in America they have the military who are being deployed show up at a bus station, and there would be a crew on the bus that would be responsible for taking them to and from. And that's how I saw your job was. You were the bus driver that was taking us.
Yeah.
So, and you always told me about that I personally gave you a hard time, and that it took several people to drag me because I didn't want to go.
Yeah. And then kind of a truce was made, but yeah. And I think that's kind of what happens. It took me a long time to figure it out, work it out, why I was given that specific role, and it's hard when people come along, then they recognize you and they say, oh, I remember you as part of that specific thing. But I did a lot of rescuing as well. It wasn't just emergency pickup missions. I mean, there was a lot of things that were planned, and I'd often get the feeling that I would be called up that evening. And then there would be evenings or times when I would be called up instantly, if you know what I mean, and put into a situation, and there's no kind of getting out of it. And these are the hard
there's
things
no
to
getting out of that.
explain, that you kind of have to run with it when you're with it, and just wait for a response, if you like. But a lot of people have contacted me in the physical world, such as yourself and a few other names out there, which I won't name because these things are private that have happened, and missions that I'm not going to bring them into and start sharing. And, you know, there's confidential things.
There are. And that's why I've never mentioned this was what you did before, was because this was your confidential thing. And we did talk about that we were going to talk about this today, is why I brought it up. Otherwise, I would have waited for you to bring it up. So I want the public to know that I don't just force people to talk about what they did. It's too personal, and it's too, it feels intrusive when you talk about it. When it feels like you should have consent.
Yes. And I suppose a lot of it at the beginning was why I didn't share it, because I felt like I didn't have consent to share it, because there were too many people involved that were in the reality of the living world, such as people that were in everyday lives or physical things that actually happened. And I'm having people contact me from the far sides of the world telling me that I've interacted in their dream space and they can't understand it and they want to know why. Yeah.
I get a lot of folks who dream about me and think that it was reality, and I have absolutely no memory of it whatsoever. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that one. But yeah.
But that's a special thing, because sometimes I do have a memory, and I think there's been 3 occasions where I've had a memory of dream sharing. And you know, those kind of surreal moments when you're trying to contact the person at the same time and they're trying to contact you, and then the first time you interact, it's like, whoa, you're never going to believe this. And you're both at that same point. And literally, I have had conversations with people where I haven't even explained what's gone on in the dream. I've just gone straight into talking to them. And one, I can share one with you if you want. I ended up on a beach. I was coming in from an ocean, coming out of the ocean with a group of people. And I wanted to shift these people down the beach as quickly as possible. I wanted to get them out of there. There was a lot of kids there, a lot of little kids. I just wanted them gone. I wanted to move them to safety and get them gone. And one of the commanding women officers that was there, she was a woman. And I said to her, didn't you see me calling you? And she said, I heard you, but I was trying to move them. And I was like, well, I told you to run quick. And I was literally dripping wet, soaking wet when I woke out of my bed in the physical, real world. My hair was wet. My clothes were wet. My bed was wet. It was like I just stepped out the ocean, and it was too real, from in an astral world into a reality of waking up soaking wet from head to toe. And then a friend contact and say, hey, we were in the ocean. I was running with people, and I was like, I know I was there.
That's what I was going to ask. Are you sure it was astral and not just that you were in another place and
I kind of Well, this is the thing, you see, because I think I could have been in a physical place, because I've kind of figured out that they learn how to do these things while you're asleep in the astral world. And if you can imagine your body slipping out like an avatar, and they can place you into something else, it's a little bit like that. When I say Avatar, the movie is not far from the truth with super soldier stuff. This is the super soldier stuff I experience, is where I'm hijacked. It's like I've been hijacked. That's the only way as I can describe it.
That's how it feels from my end, is that I've been hijacked, except that I see this red circle in the hallway. I mean, it's almost pitch dark. I do have a nightlight in the bathroom, but it's 30 feet away. And between me and the nightlight, I see this red portal.
A trigger point. So that nightlight, because they use things like that. I was trying to explain this in my last interview, that they can use triggers and screens, and they can literally screen a situation, just to kind of make you comply, if you like.
Well, I see the portal in the hallway, and I see 4 people in black fatigues coming out. Lou's next to me, snoring his head off. He's completely out.
Won't hear them. No.
And the 2 cats are at the foot of the bed, and they're snoring their heads off. They're not doing anything. Why am I aware of it? And I feel myself being picked up, and I'm wanting to scream, I'm wanting to fight, and I go anyway.
Exactly. A little bit the same. Sorry, I've got an incredible itch. Exactly. This is what happens, and your sleep gets hijacked. But dream sharing is a big thing that I can do and master, and I've mastered it. And I've done it with my husband that I've got as well. I can just do this thing with people where not invade their dream space. That's a little bit intrusive, but I can interact and astrally kind of connect in there if I want to. I do it with my mum a lot. I
have
pull forwards in time.
A couple of friends that I have like constant telepathy with. And I actually block other people from having that kind of connection.
Yeah.
It's enough to have it. Well, I have it with my partner Lou, and just 2 other people. So, and I know who they are. So if you're a total stranger out there watching this, oh yes, oh no, you don't.
No, you don't. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's kind of not funny.
Shielding up. I have mirrored shielding up. You're not getting through it unless you're more powerful than I am.
And you can feel this. And I've actually been headhunted by people that worked with Ingo Swann. I've had people contact me from universities and people that work directly with him on projects that are still spun off from the work that he did. And these people wanted to study me in, so I have had offers to be parts of programs like that. And I say no, because that's too many people in my viewing space.
Yeah.
If it was one-on-one, but we're talking of groups of students studying you, that's too many. Do you know what I mean? That's far too many.
Yeah, I get that. That's like, what you want me to let a whole group of students into my head? Oh, hell no.
Exactly. I'm not, into, and this was a real offer that I had, and the people got quite upset with me because I told them no. Because they don't expect you to say no, you see.
Yeah, they don't. They expect,
People
oh yes,
always
this is going to
think
be so.
that, yeah, people think that they can offer life on a platter or a silver platter, if you like. It doesn't buy me.
Yeah, there's too many people it does buy.
Mm.
And that's been disturbing for me to watch the folks in our community
Yes.
that they get offered a little bit of money and they
Mm.
just jump at it.
Yes. And I watched the old Blue Avian thing that, unfolded, that was totally taken out of context what I said. The guy took it out of context. And when I said bird tribe, it wasn't necessarily a bird tribe. They were known as a bird tribe. They flew. And just people just spin off on their own things. And I mentioned
I know in a lot of the old,
yeah,
the ancient art, if they were able to fly, they drew them with wings.
with
That
wings.
was like a code so that the public looking at it would understand that they were capable of flight. It didn't mean that they physically had wings.
Or a sun disk with wings on. We see a lot of that in the Egyptian and the Anunnaki community and different religions. The wings and the discs. I mean, even America, you've got the eagle.
Oh,
You've got the
Thunderbird.
the Thunderbird. It's all there. It's all there that where we are, who we belong to, and where we're from in the cosmos. It's just whether we believe it and digest it and understand that when we talk of a secret space program, it's not a new thing.
No, it's not.
Ancient. You know that, Penny. We've spoke about this many times of how ancient it is, because your knowledge, we can just spin off on whatever we're talking about with the Anunnaki, and not many people get it. It's very hard.
One of the things that has frustrated me so much is how many people think that this world is ran by Draco, and it isn't. It's ran by Anunnaki. And the ruling class are not Draco hybrids, they are Anunnaki hybrids. And I've never seen one shapeshift, and I keep being told, oh, they do. But you and I are both from that bloodline. I don't shapeshift, do you?
No. But when people say shapeshift, they're talking about things like our eyes change colour, our hair changes colour, our appearance can change. Our appearance can be different to some people. It depends on how they see our vibrational frequency. So I guess we kind of do shapeshift a little bit, but in a totally different kind of sense. When people are talking about reptilians, I think, I have seen a few odd people where their eyes have flickered from round pupils to slits. They've made themselves aware to me in the physical face-to-face of who they are. I have seen that. And
I had one lady that was on my show, and she disappeared to go to the bathroom, and she came back with reptilian contact lenses.
Oh no, that was a bit silly. Yeah.
I've not actually seen someone physically shift.
Yeah.
I've seen the appearance change with frequency, like you're discussing, where it's almost like an overlay over the person.
Yes.
But I have never seen a physical shapeshift.
No.
I think that would be, pardon my cussing, but that would be fucking painful.
It would be weird, but it would be. And from the stories I've heard of what one person told me that I absolutely believe, because like in this job that I do, I have people contact me from everywhere, as they do you, Penny. And a lot of people, they just want to offload with you just for someone to believe them, because of what they've seen, experienced, or felt, or witnessed in some kind of way. It was a reality to them. I know somebody really, really close at hand that I've known for years who told me a tale about something that was connected up into Scotland. I'm not going to go into too much detail. This is where I get sheepish, because I hate giving names away, because I don't want to get in trouble. You know what I mean when I say that. You can share so much, but you can't give it kind of all away. And it might sound like as though you're protecting people. No, I'm protecting myself. Can share it, but I have to protect myself, kind of thing.
If you're going to be someone that people trust, you have to protect identities.
This is what I'm saying. And I can't just blurt people's names out. I have to, But they described to me, the story was that they were invited into a very wealthy family up there in Scotland, in a location that was a little bit out of the way. And there was some kind of gathering event where a few people were invited. And I'm not sure whether the people did actually partake in something that they shouldn't have done with substances. And yeah, kind of from that.
Psychedelics can change your
it
perceptions.
wasn't kind of psychedelics with this person. It was more of your normal everyday herbal substances.
Okay.
Nothing that would be hypnotic or.
Some of those affect me as psychedelics, which
I think the guy actually was physically beaten up by the people and thrown out of the area completely. And he said that one of them revealed themselves to him and completely peeled his face off. And underneath was a reptilian. And he said, please believe me, I'm not lying, And it's little things like that when we say that, oh, okay, this guy was smoking a bit of pot, but he wasn't off his face, and he wasn't, and then he ended up beaten up and kicked out, never to return. And it was all kind of a bit of a shady story. And this happened many, many years ago, like 20. And he was never to communicate with these people again, which was kind of odd, because they revealed themselves to him.
That is a bit odd.
And his life's been toyed with ever since, a little bit. So, he's on the restricted list of where life's made difficult for him. And I'm sure that many people out there who are a POI, person of interest, or on some kind of interest list with other people or agencies, your life can be as difficult, or you can play the game.
I think I'm on at least one of those lists,
Mm.
and I have people show up in my world, and they are quite pleasant for sometimes years,
Mm.
and then they will suddenly turn and attack.
Yeah.
And I'm never real sure what I did to cause the attack. So, but in the meantime, I'm just being me and doing my thing, and I'm
Mm.
pleasant until the attack comes, and then I defend myself.
Mm.
But
You
I will state for the record, I do have a handful of people. I think it's up to about a dozen who have supported me over the years financially. They're all individuals. None of them are agency folk, and or at least if they are, I don't know they are.
Mm.
And none of them have asked me to change what I talk about. And I put out, it averages about $50 a show, and the amount of money I'm given does not cover my expenses. So I'm not being supported by anybody as far as out there making a living and living a life of luxury.
Mm.
So
Exactly. The same here, I've never earned a lot of money. I've had money. It doesn't improve your performance, let's say.
the only time I had money was when I was married to a hitman. And
Wow,
I didn't know he was a hitman when I married him.
you found out, huh?
I found out the hard way, yes. He told me one day exactly what he was, and that if I didn't toe the line, that I would be at the bottom of Uncle Tim's mine shaft.
I think they call them handlers, don't they?
Yeah,
And, how many handlers have come and gone in my life, and I can see them. And you just
yeah.
have to sort them out really quickly. Because, as part of me, I don't need a handler too much. And that's part of the problem. It's when people are assigned and they can't quite, and they realise that I'm a little bit of a wild space cat, let's put it, and can't be caught there out in the cosmos. I run away from them kind of a lot, and that's what I get caught for, because I'm a little bit naughty. I risk it and will go that extra mile and will break the rules. I'm always in trouble in SSP for breaking the rules. I'm renowned for it.
I'm usually in trouble because I have a personal ethical compass, and not many out there do.
Mm.
And at least with the Germans, they expect women to be available for sex and not get attached. And I can't do that. It's part of my core to have one person that I'm with and I'm attached to that person. And so they get angry about that. Um, that and when they abuse me, I will fight
Mm.
and defend myself. And I'm always in trouble for defending myself.
Yes.
So, I mean, you've probably seen my report Herr Major had, and he was told, well, you want her, you got her, but you're going to be responsible for her.
Yes, it was kind of a little bit like that, wasn't it?
Yes.
And,
So
yeah, it was interesting.
he told me that the core part of the report was that I was a great officer, but that I had a nasty temper. And that if you pushed me, it was at your own risk, and
Mm.
that I could be quite violent.
Temperamental is the word, I think.
Um, I told him my problem was that they were doing things to me that I saw as not acceptable, and
Mm.
I was establishing boundaries.
Yes, but they don't like those, you see.
I know.
It's when you start fighting back and questioning their authority, and they can quite quickly show you who's boss and push you back in different groups to do it all over again.
Oh,
They like
yes.
to do that as well. Or
Yes.
they'll put you in a department that you don't like to be in, and it will cause you lots of stress and nightmares.
Well, as long as they're not beating me or raping me, I
Yes.
generally I generally go along with it out there.
Well,
Not
I
here.
kind of save guys when they're in that situation, as you know. That's when I go in and I like to kick ass, because that's part of that I couldn't deal with in this secret space program. Is that the interactive, some of the interactions that I was having was too bizarre to even want to talk about.
Yeah.
Had me fighting, felt like fighting for my life sometimes. And that
Well,
shouldn't happen in your dreams, right?
mine isn't so much as dreams now. Mine is I remember a lifetime.
Mm,
And I've been translating it because that particular lifetime was recorded in my head in German. So I started off with all the smells and feels and tastes and all of that stuff, and all the verbal part was in German, which
mm,
I speak like a child.
mm,
So I basically had no idea of what they were talking about. So I've had to go through and figure out what they were saying in my memories
mm,
and reintegrate that person that went with those memories.
mm.
And she she's a bit of a cunt. She
Oh,
likes to toy with people. And so when I was reintegrating her, because there's a time period where you're both and you're not one or the other, but you kind of switch between them. And she was driving Lou absolutely crazy. And finally, we've reached an impasse where that we are working together because we know we can't get rid of each other.
yes,
So there are
mutual sense.
times there are times whenever she still will pick at Lou. And there are times that she blocks my memory of what she did to him. And I will wake up and I will sit in front of the computer and I will realize that 3, 4 hours have passed and I have no memory of them.
Yes. That happens
And
to a lot of people I know.
I will sit here and I will say, "Good morning," and you
Finally.
will hear Lou go, because she's been tormenting him this whole time. And he has told me that if she wasn't a woman, that he would have punched her a long time ago. So she apparently pokes all of his buttons. He hasn't told me specifically what she does, but
Mm.
she's apparently really hard on him. And when I come back, he's like, oh. So for people who don't live this kind of a life, it is frustrating.
Mm.
You have
I think when
no
it sneaks into your reality, like with yours, it'll happen like that. With mine, I get physical injuries, or I've got that little chip there in my wrist that I was tested with that you could see.
Yeah.
You know, and mine actually comes into this physical world. Yours comes in a different way, and mine comes with injuries, and you know,
Well, I've had
it's
injuries too. You
yeah,
remember when they picked me up and they broke my shoulder, and
yeah,
that
you
required
smashed
surgery.
me. I was
And
down time. I think I witnessed that time.
and you might have. I was picked up and taken for a short-term CIA mission. And on the way back, they told me, "We know we can't kill you. Haven't figured out why, but we know we can make you hurt." And they broke my shoulder. And recently, um, it's been about 3 weeks now, they picked me up and hit me across the middle of the back with a baseball bat. Um, they're a little bit heavier than cricket bats, but
Mm.
it's the same idea.
Yeah.
And that's been hurting for 3 weeks. So it gets, I don't know what I did to piss them off this time.
Okay. Well, I don't quite let anybody get that physically close to me. I don't think they'd dare because the entourage that I usually have with me would sort them out pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah. I have had times when I was picked up for missions, and after
Mhm.
I've done the mission, I would be put into a room with a raptor from Mars, and he would be told not to kill me, but to do as much harm as he could without killing me. And I would come home and I would wake up in my bed with multiple, like, broken ankles, um, bruises everywhere. And if you go to the doctor, they assume that Lou is doing that, and
Yeah.
he's not. He's a very sweet, gentle soul, and he does nothing to harm me. And
Mm.
I'm trying to explain to the doctor, I woke up with this.
Mm.
Nobody here did this. Well, how did it happen? I don't know, but he didn't do it. And they
Yeah.
think I'm a battered wife covering for him.
Mm. I've heard this tale and I've experienced it myself. So um,
Yeah.
it's it makes you think like that you're going crazy when you go to the doctors and you're trying to explain all this and they're asking you how you've come across physical injuries like that you've got and you can't explain them
Well,
and no
the
memory.
doctor,
The
the
memory.
doctor that I have now, my primary doctor, I told her right off the bat, I was kidnapped as a child. I was used in a black op. I have ongoing contact with them. My injuries are from them. And she swallowed hard like paranoid schizophrenic, but she never has argued with me. So, knock on wood.
So they labelled you. Have they labelled you? a
Oh,
schizophrenic.
they have labeled me a depressive.
Oh, okay. See, I
Uh,
haven't got any labels. I'm totally normal, which is
well,
what makes this whole thing bizarre. I haven't got any mental health issues. I've got no history of mental health issues. I've never taken any medication. I've never, and I've
um,
physically shown the chips are beeping. I've got
I
them.
killed myself in 1984 and was sent back
A
from the
walk.
other side.
Okay, yeah, a walk.
Not a walk-in. I was sent back. It was me, and
Oh, okay.
I was told you have a job to do and you're going to do it,
Yeah.
and don't do this again. So it wasn't a walk-in. It was still me, but I was basically told you have no options. You're doing this. So when I talk about that I have a mission,
Mm.
it's serious. It's I'm
Mm.
not even allowed to die to get out of it.
You have to complete it. It has to be
Yes,
completed before you're let go. I
yes.
know. I can relate.
So
It's
it's been a wild ride, but
it's
once you do that, then you have this label for the rest of your life,
mm.
and
This is what I try to explain to people when they talk about 20 and 20 and back and 40 and 40. And I say, well, I must be on a 60 and 60 or 100 and 100 or a something else because I just keep coming back. Lifetime,
I've
life,
done
like through cycles and cycles that just keep going.
I have done 90 60 and backs with the Germans. Uh, I was taken for those in 2018 because there was a colony planet that was destroyed, and as a navigator that can do a whole armada, they would send the armada to back in time to rescue people from that
Yeah,
planet. And so all these trips were necessary to bring back as many of those people as we could.
yeah.
And at the point where that spot in time had been worn out, we had only rescued half the people. We
Wasn't
did,
that connected to Looking Glass?
I don't know. I don't know enough about Looking Glass to know if it was
Mm,
connected to that or not. But I
mm,
know that it was caused by the Galactic Authority had
mm,
told the Germans to get rid of that colony,
mm. I do
to
believe,
evacuate it, to
yeah,
move those people,
yeah.
and they said "F you," and so the Galactic Authority blew it up.
Yes, I heard about that. There was a lot of underground bases and all sorts being blown up as well, along with it at the time. It was a huge cahoot that was going on. It was really rife with things that were being blown up in the cosmos, out the cosmos, and on the planet itself. And a lot of people
Well,
were in place at that time as ground crew members. If you remember me talking about this, going back 6 or 7 years, I was talking about ground crew that were
mm,
going to be placed here with the federations as part of these breakaways that were going on from this overall fucked up structure, if you like, that's happened within the SSB.
well, the Galactic Authority were blocking German expansion into a specific part of space, and they were unhappy about the way all of the human factions were using slavery. And so their intention was to bring all of the factions back into the solar system and then seal off around the Oort cloud. And that was the final decision that was made. The Germans are the farthest out, so they're the first ones being sent back in. And they're just basically being raked back into the solar system. All of them that are still in the Milky Way. So all of them, the Germans, the Americans, the Japanese, the Russians, everybody that's out there are coming back to the solar system. And the Germans are not settling on Earth. They're going into the Oort cloud and building underground civilizations there. So
I've heard this.
Earth is not going to be the only place where they are, but they're coming through the sun portal, and that's what is it? Her name, Gina Colvin Hill, I believe is her name. She's been taking photographs of the ships coming through the sun. That's what she's photographing. Is the Germans coming through the sun, and then they go into the Oort cloud.
I contacted her and said to her that there's a hole in the center of the sun. It goes right the way through, and it's like a portal, if you like.
It is a portal.
You know that. I know that. And it's facing us at the minute, which is the funny thing. It's directly facing us at this very minute.
Yeah, it is. And I haven't tried to talk to her, but I saw her photographs and I'm going, those are German ships.
Yes, they're sucking the energy out of the sun, and those
are German ships, and they're huge, and there are lots and lots and lots and lots of them, and the entire fleet is being used to take those colonists from that planet into the Oort cloud. That's what they're doing. And when I talk to people, it's like, well, there's no evidence. Yes, there is. She has photographs.
She has the photographic evidence.
Exactly.
It's amazing, her stuff.
She has the photographic evidence. It's real. I'm not making this shit up.
No, I'm
on one of those ships as we speak.
Your avatar, you are in an avatar.
I'm there on one of those ships, bringing ships full of people, human beings who were originally from Earth, and
other places.
Well, the ones from the German colonies were from Earth, and it's like one of the things I've been slapped with this last week is, well, there's no evidence. Yes, there is.
There is. There's plenty of evidence.
I personally have been verified by a retired CIA archivist that my story matches what she uploaded to the archive. And then we've got Gina Hill's photographs. Those are evidence.
Same here. I've got my chips.
Chips?
I've got physical evidence that I've experienced these things. I've got hospital reports and damage reports from my body that, are impossible for me to get around. And we have got the evidence out there. We see it every day. It is there.
And one of the things that I've been slapped with recently was that, they're all captains or something.
No.
I'm not.
No.
I'm a navigator.
Yeah, I'm
You
not
know, in
captain.
Star Trek terms, I'm Sulu.
I know captain. I know captain. I'm not saying I don't have a lot of influence, let's say. I know that I do have a lot of power in other ways that's influence. You're smiling, Penny. I
I'm
know.
smiling because I know you do.
I know.
What shocked me was when Oberkommando
Mm,
contacted me, Penny, not my alter who served with them,
mm,
and wanted to know what was going on because I have an alter that works for the court.
mm.
There's a court
Yes,
that is off of Saturn, and it's a galactic authority court.
yes. It's a very high court.
And I have an alter that's a bailiff there.
Mm.
So I'm that alter sits there and witnesses the cases. So
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of galactic law from
And they
sitting there.
literally do take cases and take them to cases. People don't think this, and there is real cases from real rules that are broken.
Yeah, there are though. And I'm sitting there as the bailiff. I'm not anybody important. You know, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I'm a bailiff. And I'm sitting there watching the case, and they're letting me, Penny, piggyback so that I can learn galactic law.
Yes.
And so I can't interfere with what's going on there, but
Oh,
I'm learning galactic law
so
by
good. Yeah.
piggybacking that altar. And Oberkommando, which is German High Command,
Mm-hmm.
they contacted me to find out what was going on.
Yes.
And that shocked me
I
because
know.
I'm I'm a lieutenant. I'm a lieutenant. I'm a nobody.
Mm.
I I
What
have I have the lowest rank I can possibly have and still qualify for that job.
exactly? You know, you're multi-skilled. You know, you can take on any role. I think. Yeah.
So
From piggybacking and watching and observing, because that's what they do with a lot of us. Is they like to test the waters and stick you in somewhere and jot you in and see if you'll enjoy it, be of benefit. I've done some bizarre things, from crazy things like testing foods. I can remember testing this transparent, non-color food that was basically looked like wallpaper paste. It had no taste, it had no smell, but I'd got this little monitor thing. I do believe they're just bringing them out now. You can trace these. I think they're in China, and they monitor all your like little biorhythms. So basically, these pieces of technology, it fits to your skin. It's like
mm,
transparent, fits to your skin. But when you eat foods and things, it was testing things like how much nourishment my body was getting,
mm,
how much oxygen and was going into my blood, and what my body was lacking in, and did my body really like that food? Was it good for? It was quite fun. You know what I mean? So I've had crazy things like that in the secret space program,
uh,
where I've been stuck in
uh,
certain situations and said, hey, you've got to do this. So it's not necessarily I'm always running around with a gun, shifting people from one place to another. You could just be there at the time and they need you. I've been in situations
they
like
need
you
they
do. Yeah,
they need a body and you're there.
they need a body and they're like, you can do this. But sometimes I can remember being the person that will be, hey, I'll do that. because some things are fun. I've took a mobile phone with me and I fried it in the real world.
Yeah,
It
I
came
remember that.
and
That
it,
you
you
just
remember that?
completely. You remember. I remember you.
Oh,
You were telling me you took it with you, and that it never worked again.
no, I thought I could sneak it with me, being sneaky, and thought I could get some evidence, and took a brand new iPhone with me. And the next morning, I remember having it there in my interaction, and whoever was with me said, "You're going to get in so much trouble." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not.
You
I'm going to
you told
collaborate
you
it."
told me you told me about it, and I said you are
Oh,
going to
I
get in
tried to
so much trouble.
collaborate, collaborate my real phone with this gadget that I have to wear when I'm off up there. And I was like, "No, I'm gonna collaborate it with what I've got." And I literally fried my phone.
Oh
That
yeah.
it couldn't find itself. It was saying it wasn't anywhere in the Earth vicinity.
It
It was just
wasn't.
spinning round a globe, like trying to locate itself. It wouldn't work.
Well, that's because they
Funny.
set them up to only be usable here.
Yes, I know. I had no time, no date. This was a brand new phone. If the time was flicking, it was another time, another date. It was going back something like 20 years. It was wild.
That's fun.
So that's like things I call like
That was
physical evidence.
that was an expensive lesson.
My friend still has that phone because I gave it her. It was okay for photographs, and she wanted something where she could just take photographs. So I actually do have that phone, and I'm going to ask her for it so that you can
Were you
just
able to
see how
take
it spins.
were you able to take any photographs that
No,
that
nothing. Nothing would work.
because that's one of the things that they always complain at me about is, well, why didn't you take photographs?
Mm.
Well, they took me naked.
They like
Where
to
was
do
I?
that.
Where
Yeah.
was I supposed to put
Mm.
a camera up my hoochie?
Yeah, I know.
So, people are unreasonable what they expect from us.
Exactly. And it's like recently I've had, well, can you name places, dates, times, events, colours? And when you're in certain situations, you haven't got time to look about at what colour an object is, or what was playing, or what sounds were going on. If there's a physical scenario going on that you're freaking out about, that you're freaking out, right?
Well, I remember them playing Rammstein on a ship because
Interesting.
when I heard Rammstein, I was offended by it first time because I have a kid that loves Rammstein. But the
Okay.
first time I heard it, it was like nine, 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 nine,
Mm.
and I'm like, okay. Now I listen to it and it's like, oh yeah, this is good music. But when I first heard it, it was this instant, obviously programmed response.
Frequency. Yeah.
And I know I heard Rammstein. I know I heard the band Disturbed. If you
Mm.
haven't heard them, they're good, but they're rowdy.
Okay.
And um, so that was one that the first song I heard of theirs was really good, and it overrode the programming. So I'm slowly breaking their programming about
Mm.
musical taste because
I know.
the ship I was on, every day at the beginning of the shift, they play Pulse Jupiter.
Yeah.
Every shift they play that. Now, you guys know that as a different song, and it's the music for one of your British hymns about I vow to thee my country. It's the music that goes to that.
Yes. It's the frequency, though, you see. It's the melodies. It's the melodies that trigger. It's a certain melody. It's not necessarily the words, it's the melody. And
well,
it's
we
kind
sang
of
it
like
in German.
trigger. Yeah.
We sang I vow to thee my country in German.
Wow.
At the beginning of every shift.
Interesting.
And it was Herr Major who brought that to my remembrance. It was like, do you remember this?
They do that because they're very formal and very like regal, if you like. They like their royal commanders we've discussed before. You know, they have their royal
aristocracy.
Yes. And they are sometimes like that. But on a lighter note, when you've mentioned music, I had to laugh and smile because I've listened to a lot of music randomly when I've been zipping through there in my light craft. And when you say a taste in music and interest in things, I've done it quite often.
Yeah.
And played some random crazy metal music, and it's always metal music, which is funny.
Yeah, it's always metal music that is the alternative that they really don't want you to listen to, but everybody does.
Yeah.
And it's something about the drums will get you going in a way that nothing else does. And I think it goes back to the tribal roots.
It can increase your frequency and performance. It's a known thing. I mean, you've seen it in the movies when you've got fighter pilots and they put some really heavy metal on and they're going for it and they're really blasting. It's because it just raises that frequency up a bit and it makes you want to, like, yeah, I'm going to go for this.
Yeah.
And I've done that quite a lot, zipping through, chasing whoever I've been chasing. Sometimes.
I used to do distance driving. And I would put on the Moody Blues. And I would get into the zone and just look down and go, oh shit, I'm going too fast.
You get lost, yeah.
But I would get into the zone and I would just go. And by the time I got there, I wasn't nearly as tired as I would be without the music.
It's interesting how that they use melody and frequency, how it plays a big part of our everyday life, and it can be hypnotic and used in states of all kinds of things to trigger.
Well, you had wanted our session to last about an hour, and we're a little
I
over
think we're on about an hour, aren't we now?
Yeah.
I'm kind of starting to lose. I can feel it drifting.
Yeah, I've been sitting long enough. My hips are starting to feel it. Sorry, guys, but I am getting old.
We're all feeling it, and that's the reality, isn't it? We get old.
You know, we humans do have a life cycle, and I really think that all this time that we spend in space somehow affects it. So
it does, unless you can get in a regeneration chamber now and again, Penny.
The next time that you guys pick me up,
That
A
would be,
regen chamber on my way back would be a nice thing. I wouldn't mind being this age if it didn't hurt. So if you want to keep
let's
that
see
in
what can be
mind,
done.
if you want to keep that in mind, I wouldn't mind being this age if I didn't have to hurt or
Me
take
too.
pills.
Mm.
In the 90s, my endocrine system failed, so I'm on replacements. So it would be nice if the body worked and didn't hurt.
It would be nice for us all to be regenerated, wouldn't it, right now?
Yeah,
They're going to bring that technology really soon, I do hope.
I hope
They
so because
hurry with that. It's
uh,
already there for those that need it, as we know.
it's
They'll
there for those who can pay for it.
afford it. For those that can afford it, it's already there.
So, yeah,
Cell regrowth, huh?
that's how we've got people that are 100 years old still in power.
Mm,
So,
brilliant.
anyway, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And thank you, audience, for listening.